So, the USA and Iran have finally agreed on a memorandum of understanding due to be signed in just a few days. The memorandum of understanding is touted to include fighting in Lebanon as part of its peace agreement. However, as expected, Israel is not at all happy with this. To be honest, it is illogical to assume that the USA can make decisions for Israel. After all, they are two separate countries, however much they seem to be in step these days. Israel has been at war with its neighboring nations ever since its formation in 1948. It has done so with the blessings and backing of the USA, and one could argue it would be totally ineffective without this backing. But that is not how Israel sees it. Israel was formed through aggression, having displaced the local Arab population in Palestine, and since then it has been very aware that the very neighbors whom they have deceived and cheated rightly want their land back, or at least want the respect and autonomy that Israel has consistently worked against. But Israel still has a right, as a recognized nation, to chart its own course. Having goaded and cajoled the USA into this unjust and illegal war, Israel does not want the fighting to stop. Their goal is the annihilation of Iran and any other nation they perceive as enemies, which, to be honest, includes just about all of the Middle East, as well as Turkey, Jordan, and whoever disagrees or objects to their genocidal plundering of neighboring territories. But Israel is even more megalomaniacal than Trump, because just as Trump wrongly believed that since his illegal actions in Venezuela seemed to have gone without any serious objection or fallout, he would be able to achieve a similar feat in Iran on the 28th of February. But after 100 days of getting nowhere, it seems he has finally realized that he cannot win this war with Iran, at least not militarily. However, Israel, under Netanyahu and the Knesset, is still deluding themselves on this point. They have tried very hard to derail the peace deal by crossing Iran's red line in Lebanon once again, bombing Beirut's suburb as soon as the agreement was announced, expecting that Iran would retaliate and that the USA would have to return to war. But Iran has calculated that without the USA, Israel is as a bothersome mosquito, something they can ignore until they have time to deal with it. Iran knows that without the USA, Israel would have to fall in line and withdraw from all of Lebanon and Gaza. Will have to dismantle its illegal settlements and watch Gaza rise like a phoenix from its ashes, and that frightens it no end. Because in reality, Israel is no match for Iran. It is about 1/8 yet the size, and with 1/5 of its population. And with Hezbollah and Hamas on its front door, Israel is in a very vulnerable position without its powerful backer, the USA. Iran has shown the utmost restraint in this conflict, more than, I believe, any Western country would or could imagine. After the killing of the supreme leader, almost his entire family, as well as 1,500 civilians, including 150 children, the new Ayatollah, who is the son of the murdered supreme leader, has not once spoken of vengeance. No doubt he may be planning the correct time and manner for this. Maybe he feels that revenge is a meal best served cold, as they say. But this kind of restraint is not what we have come to expect of Arab leaders. In any case, this is how I believe the new supreme leader is approaching Israel. I believe he first wants to commit the USA to peace, so that any action on the part of Israel would not draw them back into a full-scale war. Once this is achieved, Israel is left to fight its own battles, and Iran would be only too happy to teach Israel a final humiliating lesson. So I suspect after the signing of this agreement on the 19th, Iran would retaliate in some way for the infringement that has happened in recent days. And it would be interesting to see what America does at this time. If America re-enters the war and breaks the peace agreement between itself and Iran, then we are back to square one. But if America stands by that peace agreement and essentially tells Israel, if you start any aggression, you are on your own, then I think we are looking at a completely different scenario where Israel really has no choice but to submit and allow the Middle East to develop as it should. If Netanyahu is smart, he will try to negotiate a peace deal with his neighbors as well. His time is running out rapidly.